tell us a little bit about your background. I love to. I have to say this. You're the first person on this podcast that actually has a Wikipedia page. So we're very blessed to have such a celebrity on board. We always like to kind of introduce our guests. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who watch this who obviously know who you are, but there's going to be hopefully also a lot of people who've never heard of you and can maybe learn from your life's wisdoms. And we kind of like to start off with introducing our guests. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about your background and your we call your passion journey.
Okay. Well, as I mentioned, Vienna was the starting point. Actually, the original starting point was New York. My father was there working with the United Nations. I was born there, stayed there for just 3 years, enough time to get me an American passport.
So we have that in common.
Yeah. So pleased to have that. And that's very, very useful indeed. But then moved around, and that really, I think, engendered an internationalist feeling to the world for me. Living in Germany, living in Switzerland, Geneva, and then Vienna, growing up in Vienna. And I felt a sort of calling, if you like, that I might one day go into politics of some form. And having a British passport and an American passport, I had to make a big decision. Where would I go to university? I knew university was important, and I had needed to complete that before entering some form of career. Would it be America or would it be Britain? And I took one look at American politics, and I have to say, it's quite crazy. A lot of money involved as well to make it.
I want to talk about that later. Yeah. I think that's going to be an important topic.
Yeah. So I ended up doing my first degree at Loughborough University, and Loughborough is famous for producing a lot of our sports characters. So it's a sports university, and Steve Backley, the javelin thrower, was there. Sebastian Coe, one of the great runners of middle distance runners, was there. We crossed over. He was doing research whilst I was there, and so I did engineering, design, and technology, but played a lot of sports. Really enjoyed that.
What did you do in particular?
I played volleyball, which is an odd one, but growing up in
Vienna, you're tall.
Sorry?
You're tall.
I'm tall. But where volleyball became useful was when I was then later in the army, unsure what I wanted to do after university. I then ended up joining the British Army. And anybody's unsure what they want to do, going into the forces is just a fantastic stopgap, if you like. Because again, you learn more about yourself. You add to those leadership credentials. And of course, it looks good on the resume. Anybody in their right mind would want to take advantage of the skill sets that you benefit from being in the army, particularly the leadership piece, which is what we're focusing on today. But during those periods, I had some difficult tours, including in Northern Ireland and Bosnia and so on. And you get a lot of time, intensive operations, and then a lot of time off. So I went to California and ended up playing beach volleyball, semi-pro, and that's where I put it to use.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Yeah, that's very, very, very interesting. I don't know how you managed to get that all time-wise into your calendar, but we have another thing in common. I noticed on your CV, it says here you were a member of the University Officers Training Corps, the UOTC, which is hilarious. Another thing we have in common. In the United States, it's called ROTC, and I was a member of ROTC myself. How was that at university? That must have been another a great place to get your first impressions of military concept of leadership and organization.
Very much so. I didn't just sort of sign up after I left the army, left the university. The OTC, the same as ROTC, very much shaped my appreciation for what the British Army does and continues to do. In fact, all services too. And like I say, any employer will look kindly at anybody who's actually had a bit of military service, particularly going to Sandhurst, our equivalent at West Point. And so going there.
But you did that after university, right? Was that to do the final touch?
Yes, or that's right. Yeah. That's right. So you go to Sandhurst, you get, if you like, another postgraduate degree, if you like, from going there, which I think is also. I went to West Point actually not long ago with my Defence Select Committee. We can talk about that later, which was fantastic to see the comparisons.
Yeah.
Pleased to see that at West Point, they're not playing American football, they're playing rugby, which I thought
they do all sorts of things there, yeah.
But rugby, again, to leadership, apparently there's more leadership opportunities in a game of rugby than there is in a game of American football, where it's all about the quarterback. So, I don't know, one to be discussed, I suppose.
Yeah, I think that'd be a hot topic.
But certainly the OTC very much was, again, you'd go away on a weekend and live in a dugout over in Wales when it's raining, and you come back and you look at everybody else. What did you do on the weekend? Well, I did something that really tested me, that really made me realize what sort of character I have. And but it strengthens you. You learn who you are. You absolutely you learn more about yourself. And so that was a building block, certainly, to joining the Royal Green Jackets. And they're a particularly useful regiment because they're the ones, as the name implies, that worked out that wearing a jacket of green on the battlefield. Remember in the olden days, the red tunics, and they're very easy to see. Yeah. No, not the Green Jackets. They worked out for your jacket.
They were smart.
Green. You can't be seen so easily. It eventually cottoned on, and everybody's now doing it.
Yeah.